let's take a journey into the future, your future, 5 years from now. I want to show you two parallel realities, two possible scenarios of what will happen to your knees. And believe me, the difference between these scenarios is enormous. It will determine whether at 60 you'll be running marathons or struggling to climb stairs, whether you'll be playing with grandchildren on the floor or watching them from a chair, unable to squat. This isn't exaggeration. This is reality I see every day in my practice. Let's start with the first scenario. Let's call it the path of inaction. Imagine you change nothing in your life. Continue sitting 8 hours a day at a computer. Continue walking as you walk now, possibly incorrectly, but you don't notice. Continue ignoring those small twinges in your knees that appear from time to time. Big deal, hurt a bit, and passed, right? Here's what happens over these 5 years. At the microscopic level, you don't see or feel. Your quadriceps, the main muscle of the front thigh, loses about 2% of mass and strength every year after 35. If you do nothing to maintain it, in 5 years, it'll be 10% weaker. 10% may seem small, but for the knee, this is huge loss of protection. You see, the quadriceps isn't just a muscle for looks, it's your knee's armor. When you walk, when you squat, when you go downstairs, this muscle absorbs impact load that would otherwise go straight to cartilage. Every percent of lost strength is additional load on the joint itself. And this load accumulates day after day, step after step, 20,000 steps a day, 365 days a year, 5 years. That's tens of millions of additional micro impacts on your cartilage. Cartilage wears slowly. It doesn't hurt until it wears significantly because it has no nerve endings. That's the insidiousness. By the time you feel pain, significant damage has already occurred. In 5 years on the path of inaction, your cartilage will become thinner, covered with microcracks. MRI will show early signs of arthritis that perhaps aren't there now, but that's not the scariest part. The scariest part is the chain reaction that begins weak quadriceps leads to kneecap instability. It starts moving incorrectly with deviation. This causes friction, inflammation under the cap. Inflammation leads to even greater muscle weakness because the brain automatically suppresses muscle activity around painful area. Muscle weakens more. Joint load increases. Vicious circle closes and starts accelerating. In 5 years on this path, you'll start noticing knees ache in the morning. Need to walk it off. Going downstairs becomes uncomfortable. Squats are difficult. You'll start avoiding certain movements, and this avoidance only speeds the process because the less you move correctly, the weaker muscles become. At this point, many people go to the doctor, get MRI, and hear diagnosis, early arthritis, meniscus changes, cartilage thinning. Doctor says, well, it's age. Let's try anti-inflammatories. And the next stage of degradation begins. Chronic painkiller use that masks pain but doesn't stop destruction. Now let's look at the second scenario. The path of awareness. Imagine that today, right now, you make a decision, you decide your knees matter, that you want to keep them healthy for decades ahead, and you start doing several simple things. First, you start strengthening quadriceps. Just 15 minutes 3 times a week. Simple exercises, isometric contractions, straight leg raises, wall squats, nothing complicated, nothing requiring a gym, but regularly, every week, every month, 5 years. What happens on this path? Instead of losing 2% strength per year, you gain 1 to 2%. In 5 years, your quadriceps isn't 10% weaker, but 5 to 10% stronger than now. This is colossal difference. This means your knee receives not more load, but less. Cartilage doesn't wear faster, but is preserved, or even restores to extent possible. Second, you start paying attention to how you move, how you walk, how you squat, how you climb stairs. You correct those small biomechanical errors that now seem insignificant, but in 5 years lead to serious problems. You learn to keep knees over feet when squatting. Not lock knee completely when walking. Go downstairs controlled, not just falling from each step. These small movement corrections have cumulative effect. Every correct step instead of incorrect is -1 cartilage microtrauma. Multiply by 20,000 steps daily by 5 years, and you get millions of preserved microtraumas. Your cartilage in 5 years isn't covered with cracks. It remains smooth and functional. Third, you start maintaining healthy weight. Every extra kilogram is additional 3 to 4 kilograms of load on knee with each step. If you lose even 5 kilograms and maintain that weight, it removes 15 to 20 kilograms of load from knees with each step. Over 5 years, that's hundreds of tons of preserved load. Fourth, you start caring for cartilage nutrition. Drink enough water because cartilage is 80% water. Consume foods rich in collagen and substances supporting joint health. Avoid inflammatory foods, excess sugar, trans fats, processed foods. Your cartilage receives nutrition needed for maintenance and recovery. In 5 years on this path, you get control MRI out of curiosity. And radiologist writes, joints correspond to age norm without signs of degenerative changes. You get up in the morning and knees feel same as 5 years ago, maybe even better. You go downstairs easily, can squat down and rise without effort. Your knees don't limit you in anything, but here's what's really important to understand. These two scenarios diverge not in the last year, not in the last month. They diverge every day. Every decision you make today, do exercise or skip, go upstairs correctly or carelessly, eat healthy food or fast food, is choice between these two paths. I've seen thousands of people on both paths, seen 50-year-olds with 70-year-old knees because they chose path of inaction, and seen 70-year-olds with 50-year-old knees because they chose path of awareness. Difference isn't genetics, though it plays a role. Difference is daily choices accumulated over years. Scary truth isn't that your knees will necessarily degrade. Scary truth is most people let it happen without realizing they have a choice. They think knee pain after 50 is normal, just age. But it's not. I know 80-year-olds who go hiking and know 40-year-olds who barely get off the couch. Let me tell you about 2 patients who came to me the same day 5 years ago. Both were 48. Both had early signs of knee problems, slight discomfort, bit of morning stiffness. MRI showed practically identical picture, minor changes, nothing serious. To the first, I gave recommendations: quadriceps, exercises, biomechanics, correction, weight control, proper nutrition. He nodded, said he'd try, and left. The second took it seriously, started exercising, changed habits, became more attentive to his body. 5 years later, they ended up at my appointment the same day again. First came with severe pain. MRI showed progressive arthritis, significant cartilage thinning, bone growths. He was 53, but knees looked 70. We discussed possible surgery. Second came for preventive checkup. Felt great. MRI showed stable condition, no progression, some early changes from 5 years ago, even slightly regressed. He was also 53, but knees were healthy and strong. Difference between them? 5 years of daily choices. One chose convenience, postponed, hoped it would pass. Other chose discipline, invested time, took responsibility for his health. Here's what I want you to understand. In 5 years, your knees will be exactly where you leave them by today's actions. This isn't lottery. This isn't fate. This is consequence of choices. And these choices you make right now, scary truth is most people learn about importance of knee health only when it's too late for easy solutions. When cartilage is thin so much every step causes pain. When simple things like tying shoelaces become ordeal. When only way out is surgery. But there's good news. If you're reading this now, it's not too late. Even if you already have early signs of problems, right actions can stop progression or even reverse it. 5 years is enough time to completely change trajectory of your knee health. Question is only which path you'll choose. Path of inaction, easier today but leading to pain and limitations in 5 years? Or path of awareness, requiring effort today but giving you freedom of movement for decades ahead? Your knees in 5 years will reflect decisions you make today. 15 minutes of exercise 3 times weekly or hour weekly of pain in 5 years, attention to biomechanics now or surgery later. This is your choice. And scary truth is not making a choice is also a choice for degradation. So what will happen to your knees in 5 years? Answer depends only on you. Start today, not tomorrow, not Monday, today. Your future knees will thank you.